Summer in Washington was warm and sunny. A huge music festival was taking place in the city center, attracting thousands of people from all over the country. The streets were decorated with colorful flags, and music could be heard from every direction. John, a 22-year-old young man with dark hair and a friendly smile, decided to attend the festival with his friends. He was an aspiring photographer and dreamed of taking special pictures that would one day make him famous. Marie was a university student. She loved music, drawing, and traveling. That day she came to the festival alone because her friend had gotten sick at the last minute. Around 6 in the evening, a famous band began performing on the main stage. People were dancing, singing, and having fun. John was trying to capture a great photo of the crowd when he accidentally bumped into Marie. "Oops, sorry," he quickly said. "It's okay," Marie replied with a smile. At that moment, a strong gust of wind caught her hat and carried it away through the crowd. "Wait here," John shouted. He ran after it and returned a few minutes later, holding the hat in his hands. "Your hat, miss." Marie laughed. "Thank you. You're the hero of the festival. And you're the first person who's ever called me that." They started talking. First about music, then about their studies, and eventually about life in general. It felt as if they had known each other for years. When fireworks began lighting up the night sky, John and Marie stood side by side, watching the colorful explosions above them. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Marie asked. "Yes," John replied. "But right now I'm not looking at the fireworks." Marie blushed and smiled. That evening they exchanged phone numbers and promised to meet again. But neither John nor Marie had any idea that this chance encounter at a festival would change the course of their lives forever. John barely slept after the festival. Every time he closed his eyes, he remembered Marie's smile, the fireworks above the crowd, and the way the evening had ended so naturally that it almost felt like the beginning of something he had been waiting for without realizing it. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the blinds of his apartment in Washington, D.C. He reached for his phone before even getting out of bed. There were no new notifications, but instead of feeling disappointed, he opened the gallery on his phone and looked through the photos he had taken the night before. Among hundreds of pictures of musicians, colorful lights, and excited festival goers, one image stood out. Marie was standing near the main stage looking toward the performers with a peaceful smile, completely unaware that someone had captured the moment. The golden light of the sunset surrounded her, making the photograph look almost cinematic. John smiled to himself before sending it to her with a simple message. "I found this while looking through my photos. I hope you don't mind." A few minutes later, his phone vibrated. "I don't mind at all. I actually love it, thank you." John stared at the screen for a moment before typing another message. "Would you still like that coffee we talked about?" This time the reply came almost instantly. "I'd love to." They agreed to meet that afternoon at a quiet cafe not far from the National Mall. John arrived early, something he rarely did. He checked his watch every few minutes, pretending to admire the people walking by. When Marie finally appeared, she was wearing a light blue dress and carrying the same hat that had nearly disappeared into the festival crowd the night before. As soon as she noticed him, she smiled and waved. John couldn't help smiling back. They greeted each other with an awkward laugh, both admitting they had been slightly nervous. Inside the cafe, they ordered coffee and found a table by the window where they could watch people passing outside. At first, the conversation stayed on familiar topics. They talked about the festival, the bands they liked, and the food they had tried. But as the minutes passed, the conversation naturally became more personal. John told her about his dream of becoming a professional photographer and how his father had inspired him by giving him his first camera when he was 13 years old. Marie listened carefully, asking questions instead of interrupting, something John wasn't used to. When it was her turn, she explained that she was studying architecture because she had always loved the idea of creating places where people could make memories together. She admitted that whenever she visited a city, she paid more attention to the buildings than the attractions. John laughed and confessed that he always noticed the light before anything else, because every photographer secretly chased perfect lighting.